Right, good afternoon, welcome. Thank you, as I say, for waiting for us. We had a slight delay there, a little technical issue. First things first, could you just hit the fit to frame button in the bottom left hand corner? You'll be able to see the presentation much better. So I'll start with an introduction. My name is Chris. I've worked for Freecube for about 6 months. Also on this CPD is going to be my colleague James. He's going to take us through a bit more of the technical installation side of it. And in the background is my colleague Craig, who's going to answer any questions that come up in the chat, or we'll have potentially an opportunity to answer those at the back as well. So we are in CPD number 2. Recoup now do 4 CPDs every month. Our CPD here is to do with installation and technology. So very much looking for installers like yourselves to help guide you through installation. First Thursday of every month is going to be our standard residential new build CPD. Third Thursday of the month going to be a new retrofitting for social housing CPD, and finally last Thursday of the month is going to be our non-residential. So what we're going to talk about today, I'll start with a little bit of the why use it, who uses wastewater heat recovery. Then we're going to move across to a little bit of detail on product and installation, go through some design schematics and points of discussion, and as I said, we can take any questions at the end. So I suppose first thing first is, what is wastewater heat recovery? Well, wastewater heat recovery is a heat exchanger technology, and we are using the wastewater from the shower and the heat from that goes into our exchanger, and then we extract the heat from within the heat exchanger, and that goes off to feed either the shower or the water heater. So why use it? Well, it offers significant CO2 reductions, especially for new build where it can be designed in very easily. Sorry, apologise, lost my mouse. It offers very simple and cost-effective Part L compliance when you consider it against other technologies such as PV. Significant hot water reduction, and that comes in 2 phases. In the requirement per shower of domestic hot water used, and the amount of energy used to produce that hot water. It also gives you the option of reducing hot water storage size, so reducing cylinder size potentially. It is a passive technology, so there's no end user interaction required. It can't be turned off, cannot be removed. It's always there. It's going to be part of the plumbing infrastructure. There's no moving parts. Potentially the end user is not even going to know it's there. It is a very easy to design in. Very few alterations will be needed to existing house types. And because of the lack of moving parts, it's got a very long lifespan. Our vertical units are given a lifespan of between 40 and 60 years. Horizontal units more like the 25 to 40. And we are a highly recyclable product. It is a copper heat exchanger, highly recyclable. We have a cradle to cradle manufacturing, so very low embodied carbon for the product. So who uses? Well, as we said, mainly majority of installations will go on new build dwellings. That's mainly for Part L compliance. However, I mean, it does have real world benefits. It's not just a box ticking exercise. So realistically, anywhere with a high area of shower traffic can benefit from wastewater heat recovery, especially places such as hotels, student accommodation, gyms, sports and leisure facilities. And recently we started to look at the benefits retrofitting with wastewater heat recovery, so social housing upgrades and domestic retrofit. Our product is great for this. It's very low disruption to tenants and easily installed in 1 to 2 hours. So we're going to talk about the installation designs, the types, the systems that can be installed with. And for this, we're going to have a little video, and then I'm going to hand over to my colleague James.
The full range of Recoup wastewater heat recovery systems can be installed in System A, B or C configurations, giving options for installation with various efficiencies. With each of the products and system types, the efficiency will also be affected by the shower flow rate. Design shower flow rates must be observed. This video will look at each system type using a single shower feeding into a pipe hex. Multiple showers can feed into a single wastewater heat recovery system, with further guidance available on the website. With all system types, the connected shower must be a thermostatic mixer shower with balanced mains pressure supplies. System A supplies preheated water to the cold feed of the thermostatic mixer shower and the cold feed of the water heater. The water heater can be a combination boiler, unvented hot water cylinder of any heat source, thermal store or heat interface unit. System A is the most efficient system configuration, offering up to 60% energy reduction. However, if more than one wastewater heat recovery system is to be installed in a property, only one can be supplying preheated water to the water heater. Additional units must be installed as System B configuration. System B supplies preheated water to the cold feed of the thermostatic mixer shower only. It is the least efficient system configuration, but still reduces energy consumption by around 50% with a pipe hex installation. It is typically only used on secondary wastewater heat recovery systems when more than one is installed within a property, or with retrofit installations where major pipework alterations are not feasible. System C supplies preheated water to the cold feed of the water heater only. It is the middle efficiency system configuration, and just like System A, only one wastewater heat recovery system can supply preheated water to the water heater, meaning additional units must be installed as System B configuration. System C is the least common, and is usually specified where the pipework length between the wastewater heat recovery system and the shower valve would be more than the maximum 4.75 metres, preventing a System A or B installation. An example of this may be a townhouse with one bathroom above another, with a pipe hex on the ground floor. 4.75 metres pipe length in 15mm copper is to limit the volume of preheated water that is left in the pipework between showering, maintaining a low Legionella risk. The preheated water pipework volume between the wastewater heat recovery system and the water heater is not a concern, however, as the water heater should be set to increase the temperature to above 60 degrees Celsius. Where SAP calculations have specified the system type for the wastewater heat recovery installation, this must be followed, as failure to do so could mean the property does not comply with Building Regulations Part L or its energy efficiency requirements. Hello, yes, so key points from that video there is all the products, the entire product range, the pipe hex, which was the one on the video, the Easy Fit and the Drain Plus range, all can be installed as System A, B or C. Only one's going to be System A or C, as you can't ensure flow through every unit if you have more than one connected as System A or C. Multiple showers can feed into one, which there is another video coming up to explain that in a bit more detail. Thermostatic mixer showers only, as most electric showers are not compatible. They are not thermostatic, they cannot control the flow and temperature. So with increased temperature going into an electric shower can cause overheating, and it's also just not recognised for use with electric showers within SAP. Where a system type is specified, it is very important that it is followed, so do make sure that is correct. And the 4.75 metres we'll go into in a bit more detail later on, but it is to do with, as mentioned on there, Legionella risk. Also the flow rates for the showers and the wastewater flowing through does affect efficiency. So obviously the slower things are moving through a heat exchanger, the longer it's in there and the better chance it has of picking up and transferring heat energy. So if I just share again another video for you. Where multiple showers are located close together or above each other within a property, it may be that they could benefit from energy savings while being connected to just one single wastewater heat recovery system. The limitations would be the draw-off length between the wastewater heat recovery system and the shower valve, and the design shower flow rates. When connected as System A, the maximum combined shower flow rate is 16 litres per minute, as the wastewater heat recovery system is supplying preheated water to both the shower cold feeds and the hot water source. If a flow rate greater than 16 litres per minute is required, and any SAP calculations that may be in place allows, then a System C configuration could be considered. With the preheated water supplying only the hot water source in this case, the combined shower flow rate can be up to 24 litres per minute. If the hot water source is a considerable distance from the wastewater heat recovery system, then System B configuration could provide a solution to supply preheated water to the cold feed of the showers only, again allowing for a combined shower flow rate of 24 litres per minute, but with a lower SAP score and efficiency. As with the single shower installation, preheated water pipework between the wastewater heat recovery system and the shower cold feeds should not exceed 4.75 metres total length in 15mm pipework. Wastewater pipework from each shower into the wastewater heat recovery system should not, where possible, exceed 3 metres, to minimise heat loss before entering the wastewater heat recovery system. Multiple wastewater heat recovery systems may be required where multiple showers are installed within a property but are not close together. Only one wastewater heat recovery system can be connected as System A or C system configuration, and additional units should be connected as System B configuration. Consideration should be given to which shower will be used the most and their distances from the hot water source when choosing the primary shower to connect as System A or C. Please contact us if you need additional information or guidance on multiple showers being installed within a property with wastewater heat recovery systems.
Right, so I'm back. We're going to talk about the different products we do. So wastewater heat recovery systems come in either a vertical or a horizontal configuration. Highest efficiencies are always going to be vertical because we have the long heat exchange. Oops, that'd be the wrong way. Right, so we're going to start by talking about the vertical pipe hex now. This is our biggest seller, our most popular product. So this will be the pipe hex as you'll get it. Two boxes, one with the 2.1 metre vertical pipe hex inside and one installation kit. Now within that installation kit you're going to find the turbo rotator, waste connections, fittings, the cap for the turbo rotator and some brackets. You'll see on the end of each end of the pipe hex will be a protector. You want to keep that in until it is mounted in the brackets on the wall. So you want to check for damage before starting to install. If they are, you need to let the merchant or ourselves know. Now you want to make your feed connections inside the box. Do not remove the metal ring you'll see on the edge. These are a 1/2 inch thread, male line in 2. And you want to use around no more than a 30 Nm force on this to attempt not to cross thread. A liquid sealant may be a better option. So you make connection at the top, which will be for the feed out, and connection at the bottom, which will be feed in. Also inside that box you're going to get the SAP label, which needs to be placed next to the heater. So we're going to have a little look at this installed vertically now. So as you can see, installed vertically right next to the SVP pipe within a boxing normally. So you place your brackets around 1500 millimeters apart, top and bottom. No roll plugs are installed, and we've got this on timber battens. Needs to be installed vertically, plumb vertically. That will affect the efficiency if it is off at all. As you connect the fittings, you want to support the fittings so as to not twist the heat exchanger. Now you'll need a couple of additional components with any install, a couple of lever valves, full bore, a double check valve to stop any backflow, a drain off cock, and you will need your 2 main lines to connect to your feed pipes. At the top of the unit is your waste inlet connection. That goes into the turbulator, and that is 1.5 inch solvent into the turbulator. And at the bottom is 1.5 inch push fit. Now you may insulate the preheated pipework, but do not insulate the wastewater heat recovery unit itself. It needs to be able to cool down naturally. And the valves itself you want to put in a reasonably accessible place or use an access panel. And as you can see, it fits quite snugly in a boxing of around 220mm to 385mm. We use a double-walled heat exchanger. I'm back again. This allows us to, well, a couple of things really. It puts us EN 1717 affiliated. Oh, sorry, I'm missing the video at the top. Up in the top right, you'll see a video showing the turbulator in action. That's very important because that rifles the water around the heat exchanger, giving us good thin filmed heat exchange, so it clings to the edge of the exchanger. Going back to the twin walled exchanger, that allows you to install the trap under the shower tray as opposed to behind our unit. And you'll see on the right of the page there is a little plan of the box SVP if it needs to be sectioned off because you need the saw pipe itself insulated and the wastewater heat recovery not insulated. So I'm going to now go on to our newest product currently, which is the PipeHex Active. So this one has been developed so that we can have the high efficiency of the PipeHex on a same floor installation. So we've teamed up with Saniflow. We have a Saniflow flat Sunny shower pump. So wastewater simply goes into the unit itself, the pump, and then that pumps up to the top of the unit where you have a buffer. That buffer keeps a small amount of wastewater inside it so that it allows the water to go down the heat exchanger at almost a gravity rate. It's very flexible with design. You've got a few limits on pipework length between waste and between pump and unit, and you've got the configurations at the top as well. There we go. So this offers the same high efficiency as the PipeHex. This is a great option for single-story dwellings such as apartments, bungalows or flats. So there we go. It goes in the same footprint as the PipeHex in a boxing. So we're going to move now to our sort of heavily retrofit product, which is our EasyFit Plus. So you'll see there our EasyFit Plus. Now this is for installation either under a bath or shower tray in the void. The unit itself is 60mm in height with adjustable legs on each corner. So you want to have about a 30 to 40mm fall above the unit. That gives for premium efficiency so that the water just doesn't sail straight through it and we don't get the heat exchange we require. You'll notice in our design there we have the central leg has been removed and we've braced it with a rocker leg set. You can get rocker or similar. So the product itself is reversible. So it doesn't matter which way round your feed or waste connections are. Similarly to the pipe hex product, you're going to require some isolation full bore valves, lever valves, to your recommended pipe size. Irons from 1/2 inch to, again, recommended pipe size, double check valve and a drain of cock. Once again, as the pipe hex product, you want to support the fittings as you tighten them, potentially using a liquid thread sealant. And off the back for the waste connection to this unit is for push fit. And what you must remember when you are installing this is it is a contraflow system. So if you've got waste inlet in one side, you need feed outlet in the other side. And that's on the side. And once again, do not insulate the product itself. You may insulate the preheated pipework around. So that brings us on to our next product range, which is our Drain Plus range. Now this is a linear range of drain systems with an integrated wastewater heat recovery system inside. So the units itself will come with a couple of different grate types, either a tiled grate or a stainless steel grate. What we must say is these must be installed on tiled flooring, not vinyl at all, because the vinyl occasionally slips. You have adjustable legs underneath and your waste connection, which is a movable, accessible, but you also do have the option for a vertical or a horizontal drain. To put in mind efficiencies of these products, the three types range from around 30% up to 57%. So you'll see under the tile plate itself, you have a percolation plate with these small holes in it. They're specifically aligned to make the wastewater drip in between the heat exchanger to allow us for the greatest efficiency. So 2024 is going to be a big year for Recoup. Partnered with our parent company Myra, we've got some pretty important and massive new products and developments coming our way. So you need to keep your eyes out for that. They're going to be great for both retrofitting and new build. So at this point here, I'm going to hand back over to my colleague James, who's going to take you through some drawing schematics.
Hello, yes, so good. So some schematics which are always good for you guys to see. Oh, sorry, I just lost my screen now. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so some schematics for you to see. So things do change when we introduce wastewater heat recovery systems. Looking here obviously at a cylinder installation. Without wastewater heat recovery systems, we're used to running a cold feed straight to the hot water cylinder and using the balanced cold connection of the combination valve. Now, because we're preheating water, certainly in the system A that's shown on here, preheating the water that's feeding the cylinder, that can't then be used to be drawn off to the cold outlets. So the balanced cold connection on the combination valve must be blanked off, and we take the supply for the cold feeds much further back. So looking, starting at the stopcock, double check valve, drain off valve, standard stuff. An additional pressure reducing valve then goes on at that point to then be able to take the balanced cold feed off before a feed to our unit. So through our unit, we've got our isolation valve, double check valve on the inlet, isolation valve on the outlet, and as this is a system A, we then take a T off to the shower and then off to the cylinder. Oh, hold on, I need to go up, didn't I? Here we go. So system B, much more simple, same arrangement off of the stopcock with our additional pressure reducing valve, balance feeds off to our cylinder. The supply to the wastewater heat recovery can come from, in this case, anywhere within the pipework within the bathroom, as it is a feed just through our unit to supply preheated water to the cold feed of the shower. System C, supplying preheated water to the cylinder only. Much the same as System A, is where we take the balanced cold feed, so we can't use the balanced cold again at the combination valve of the cylinder. An example drawing is what we're sort of seeing from the bigger house builders here, showing some pipe sizes and the pipe runs. So we've got 22mm off the stopcock, I think it says on there, pressure reducing valve under the sink, then rises a 22mm pipe up into the floor above, and will ultimately drop down to the wastewater heat recovery shown at the bottom of the drawing here. But as it rises up in 22mm, this is the first floor, you can then see it tees off to take a supply, balanced supply for the colds, and a supply that runs all the way across the property past the cylinder to the ensuite, where it drops down through our wastewater heat recovery system to come back up, then drawn pink as a preheated supply to the hot water cylinder. So that's sort of what we're seeing from house builders, which if you are not seeing those types of drawings and they'd be useful to you, then just get in touch and we can help you out. An example of a combi boiler installation, System A here. It is much more simple, a lot less going on, a bit less consideration around balanced colds and things, obviously, having not the combination valve of the cylinder. Outside of that, any projects that you might have where you aren't provided drawings or any guidance perhaps, just that it needs to go in for Part L compliance, then we can always have a look at the drawings for you, and as shown here is what we sort of send back, suggesting what products and installation methods may well suit. So some other things to discuss, some points that have been brought up along the way that are worth mentioning at this point. We've got a 1/2 inch connection size, mentioned points around about force of with the spanner as you're putting the connections in. Best off to avoid that completely, use liquid PTFE and give it 10 minutes just to set before you start making connections. It is a 1/2 inch connection, which as mentioned, 22mm pipe going in, and ultimately we're seeing 22mm in there to reduce any frictional pressure loss within the pipework. But then we're reducing down to 1/2 inch through the unit. So with that and the water pathway through the products, it does create a pressure drop. Now, pressure drop is known by the main house builders and M&E designers, and it's all calculated in. And ultimately, if it was a larger connection size, the water pathway won't change. We have to keep the volume of water within the heat exchanger relatively low for the best heat transfer. Connection onto the turbo. So as you put a dry piece of solvent weld pipe into there, you would notice that it slips in relatively easily compared to some of the fittings that you see about. I would suggest a good amount of glue for the first 60mm of solvent weld pipe that you're inserting into there, and give it a good old twist as it goes in. Any problems at that point when you start doing your drain testing, then get in touch. Don't take the whole unit off the wall. We can supply a replacement turbo if needs be, if you have any issues around leaks at that point or anything else. Installation wise, so installation of preheated pipework, that gets insulated just the same as any of the other pipework within the property, but it must be labelled. So labels to prevent future cross connection of services. So what we're trying to avoid obviously is somebody connecting in at a later date and taking preheated water to somewhere that it shouldn't be going. With that, as mentioned already, is to not insulate the wastewater heat recovery system itself. It must be allowed to cool as quickly as possible. Pressure testing of our products. 10 bar is the maximum test pressure for our products. I know a lot of pipework manufacturers are suggesting an 18 bar pressure test of pipework. So having installed an isolation valve on the inlet and outlet of our products, we can isolate ours away at 10 bar and increase the system pipework pressure test up to 18. But do bear in mind that if you've isolated the inlet and outlet, you're not necessarily going to be increasing the preheated pipework, so it might require a link over in the airing cupboard just to ensure that that section of pipework is tested at a higher pressure. And then pipe sizing in the preheat to shower. So there's a consideration. So we've mentioned a lot the 4.75 metres of 15mm pipe between the wastewater heat recovery system and the shower to keep the volume as low as possible to maintain a low level Legionella risk. So third party Legionella risk assessment has taken place of our products and the installation methods and deemed that as a low level risk volume wise of water within the pipework. So if you think initially around System B, so System B pipework of preheat pipework running from the heat recovery system to the shower, if we keep the pipework diameter at 15 and the length of pipework below 4.75 metres, it will maintain this low level volume risk of water in the pipework in between showering. When you start to think of System C, as mentioned, the draw of length of pipework between the wastewater heat recovery and the cylinder in a System C is not much of a concern, as any other hot water drawn off in the property to other taps and such will ultimately flush through that pipework and draw that preheated water into the cylinder or boiler to be increased in temperature to a temperature that takes away any Legionella risk. But System A, so System A works a little bit more complicated as we're feeding preheated water to the shower valve and the hot water source. So the important thing about that is to take the T for the shower feed as close to the wastewater heat recovery system as possible. You can see on the table on the right hand side there that if you were to run across the bathroom perhaps with 2 metres of 22mm pipe, you've already used the 0.7 litres of water volume that maintains this low level Legionella risk within the 22mm section before you're taking your tea off to the shower. So the long and short is to take the pipework for the shower right back to the wastewater heat recovery system and make that tea as close as you can there. So resources wise, we've got ahead of getting the products on site and opening the boxes and having your first look at the installation manuals. They are available on the website along with all the specification tables, and loads of other information is on there for you to download. At the bottom of the main page, certainly, you can find the Recoup knowledge base, which we have been developing. A search bar within the knowledge base, any questions you might have, you can type in there, and there'll be links to various things that will hopefully give you an answer to any queries you might have. Failing that, obviously, just get in touch and we will answer you as best we can. All previous CPDs, future CPDs, installation videos are all available on YouTube. The smaller videos are as well on the website. The CPDs, we've got one every Thursday, as mentioned at the beginning, with various focuses, be it retrofit or installation, etc. So if you feel like any of those might apply, then do join onto those as well. Also on the website we have a learning site, so you can run through that just to firm up some knowledge, or put your colleagues onto it as well, so improving your understanding of wastewater heat recovery. This room that we're in here now, where Chris and I are here, we've got several cameras down here. We're obviously connected through Teams at the moment. If you experience a problem on site, there's anything you need to run through, then we can always flip onto Teams and jump down here and get on the cameras and show you some stuff in real time. Product codes for the main stockists, we only supply through stockists, through the merchants. Codes on the screen there, so if it's handy, it might be worth just screenshotting those. And these are my details. So I deal with technical queries and product returns and such. So any issues you come across, you'll most likely end up speaking to me. So details again on the screen, so feel free to grab those. And finally, through attending today, we have what we call CPD for trees. So through attending and providing us with filling in the feedback form, we plant trees and develop grassland areas off of the back of you completing the forms. So make sure you're filling in the feedback forms for us. That'd be great. And there we have it. So any questions? I don't know if any have popped up in the chat along the way, Craig, at all? Or if you have any questions now, feel free to jump in.
And no questions in the chat.
Okie dokie. Well, that is it for us. We will be sending out a copy of the slides, a copy of the presentation itself, and the feedback form. So yeah, look out for those, and we'll be hanging around here for 5 or 10 minutes. So if you've got any questions, then I say we'll be here just to answer them. We'll give you a few minutes to speak up.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you.
Hello. Can this system be used if you've just got a combi boiler without a hot water cylinder?
Sorry, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's suitable for all heat sources. So combination boilers, unvented hot water cylinders with boiler heat sources, with air source heat pump cylinders, heat interface units, sort of the full range, yeah.
Even if that boiler's more than 4.75 metres from the shower?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're installing a system A or C, the draw-off length between the wastewater heat recovery and the heat source isn't a concern, as every outlet that you open within the property gets drawn through that pipework, so it then gets heated up to a sensible temperature. It's just the pipework between the wastewater heat recovery and the shower. As that water doesn't get turned over, it's only in between. It's only when the shower is operated. So that water is getting preheated to a temperature that you get Legionella bacterial growth, and that water in between showers just sat there stagnant. So that's why there's the limitation there on pipe length and pipe volume. Ultimately, is to keep that risk low.
Yeah. So I've got my WHO length to shower mixed up with the heat source. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James, adding on to that that comment, the obviously you got your 4.75 meters from your wastewater heat recovery to the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Can you have anything else feeding off of that? Or can that only feed the shower? So if you've got one 15mm pipe going to the shower, can you tee off from that 15mm to feed the toilet, the sink, or is that not allowed?
No, you'd be looking at just feeding the shower and or the water heater, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. No, I think that's it. I don't think there's any of my colleagues listening have anything to add. Otherwise, if you think of anything after you leave the chat, then obviously send us an email if you come up with anything after.